Hello everyone, it's Mika, and I'm here to give you that Mega Man 11 review I've been wanting to do. First off, a disclaimer. What you're about to hear is not from a 90s Mega Man fan. It's from a 2000s one. And I got to play the games from the collections on GameCube. It's a fan who's S-ranked every NetNavi he could and scoured every corner of the internet. It's from a fan that got to play Mega Man 0 and X5 and try to get A ranks in those games before he even got to touch Mega Man 2. Anyways, with that out of the way. And now this is where I get into the meat of the game, and spoiler warning, beyond this point I'm going to be discussing the hardest and most surprising stages in the game, probably in the entire series. So, if you want to be surprised, please just pause this and try it out for yourself, and then get back to this video if you want. And if you're on the fence about buying the game and don't mind being spoiled, or you're a Mega Man purist, please hear me out. And if you're already beaten up to this point, let me reiterate that I did this gearless, with no special weapons, and without charging the buster, but with E-tanks because I'm not a masochist. And anyways, and without knowing a darn thing about what the stages were going to be like beforehand. So let that just sink in a little bit. And it's sinking, and there. So, let's talk about the Gear Castle, also known as this game's Wily Castle. The first few stages of which are brilliant, and the last two I expected something a bit more, but I wasn't too surprised because every game follows this pattern, pretty much. The first Gear Castle challenge has you jumping off spinning gears that will throw you down into pits as they rotate, and rusted gears that fall after a short amount of time, when you land on them over empty pits and high places to get ahead. So why is this stage brilliant, you may ask? Well, my friends, let me tell you why. Gear Castle 1 certainly looks daunting at first. Not only will you be jumping from gear to gear, enemies will be constantly firing at you while you do it. Airstone enemies will be sending out spread shots in 8 directions, while missile cones shoot homing missiles, and wall blasters just shoot right outside your position trying to feint you. If you're like me and only using the buster, timing is very crucial. You will not be able to destroy any of the enemies you will be facing. You will not be able to use the charge shot. E-tanks won't matter, because if you make one bad move, you will fall into that pit if you slip up. Your best decision is to just plow ahead as bravely as you can and be as accurately as you have ever been in your life. You will die a lot, but it's doable, and I recommend using the Buster Plus chip to at least make life a little bit easier. It doesn't increase the damage, it only increases how wide your shot is, but it helps with things like the homing missiles from the missile cones, which are kind of hard to hit with a pea shooter that tiny. And what is waiting for you at the end, but none other than the Yellow Devil. All that jumping, dodging, and boldness, reading feigned attacks that you put through this stage will now be put to the test. It has the same pattern as the first installment in the series, but now has a speed gear installed for a hard to avoid periodic attack pattern. I'll be honest, I didn't expect the vanilla fight of the Yellow Devil as a throwback when you walk into this boss room. After Green and Moon Devil, I had half expected Wily to make a new one. I won't blame you for using E-tanks, because a speed gear attack is really hard to ascertain what positions are safe from even just a few attempts. You may want to experiment reading where his hitboxes are during the state with the speed gear yourself until you get the hang of reading it. I know I'll be messing around with it later myself, but I haven't done it. I just went straight ahead. All in all, we got a stage here that looks like Aaron Harrod. All in all, we got a stage here that makes Aaron Hansen. I can't say it. It's too mean. All in all, we got a stage here that makes Aaron Hansen's dissertation of the first Mega Man X game look like a child trying to. Why is. It's so mean. I can't say it. Okay. All in all, we have a stage here that makes Aaron Hansen's dissertation of the first Mega Man X game look like a child trying to tell you why his favorite toy is better than yours. If for some crazy reason you're listening, I'm sorry, Aaron. It's just that you were right about Mega Man X, but you know, this stage happened. Just play through it, you'll see what I mean. Next up we got Gear Castle 2. Gear Castle 2 is just as brilliant as the first Gear stage. The game sets you up with a whole mess of high HP, shielded, and near invincible enemies. The only way to deal with them is to either shoot real fast when you can, use special weapons, or use charge shots at the right moment to deal the most amount of damage, or break guards. However, the game immediately adds a twist with a weird, massive skull tank that will insta-kill you if it touches you, much like Torchman stage's fire. This tank moves much slower than the fire, but the shielded enemies will stand in your way to slow you down too. If you're doing this with a buster like I did, and only the buster, you can already tell how effective this is at slowing you down. Missing any number of shots against shielded enemies will cause them to ricochet off screens, which stops you from firing, as only 3 buster shots may be on screen at any given time, until they fly off. This puts you in a position where the shots appear on screen not doing any damage for a longer amount of time than anyone would have liked, while you're trying to avoid an insta-death scenario. Sniper Joes will also try to gain ground on you if you jump behind them. It's just as annoying as Torchman stage, but it also feels a little bit more thrilling. Occasionally these high wall skull laser enemies will appear. That will either shoot accurate plasma balls with its eyes or strong beams with its mouth. Unlike some of the other shielded enemies that can be avoided, these won't let you move until you defeat them, so timeliness is of the essence. And once you get through this stage, the enemy is a highly defensive red skull-like bot called the Ma Vern that will test your timing against shielded enemies, though you still have to shoot it to get to the weak part on the inside, kind of like when you bite into a jawbreaker. Ma Vern will also occasionally toss out homing drones that do massive damage. After a while it will start using power gear to shoot lasers in sets of 3 like the skull walls. This boss fight is much easier than the first one, but the consistency of the theme this time around was pretty surprising. The last 2 stages, however, were pretty standard. You got your boss refight against the Robot Masters, which I gladly used weaknesses in. I deserved it at this point. And then the final confrontation versus Wily. Also, before you ask, yes, Wily's trap did get me the first time around. I don't know what I was expecting. This also has a bit of precedent for the final boss, as the platforms kind of prime you for understanding what's about to happen next. Anyways, Wily Machine number 11. This boss fight was fun. It's very reminiscent of General or Hanya Ned squared, where you have to jump on missiles to shoot Wily. Occasionally missiles rain down on you, or Wily will dash towards you, and you will either have to jump or slide to avoid these attacks. Try not to end up behind Wily while you're dodging though, or he'll ram into you with his backside, and that's just an awkward position to try and get out of. At half damage, Wily Machine number 11 will take on a different form, where Wily will try to use some gears to try and smash you while utilizing the conveyor belt on the bottom, mitigating your ability to damage him consistently because he's maintaining a height at the top of the screen, meaning you'll have to either keep jumping on top of missiles as they increase incrementally in height while dodging his rolling energy bullets. This part is more tedious than hard, with it being more of a test of patience rather than skill. The other route you can go is damage the gears below him, but this is less than ideal if you want to do this with uncharged shots. It's probably a better tactic for a speedrun that lets you use charge shots or special weapons. Finally, Wily will bring out his capsule mode and will start shooting wheels of gears at you. Try to ram you with speed gear or try to smash you by wiping his attack with power gear, in which case you will have to slide in order to be quick enough. After a certain point, Wily will overclock his system by using double gear, both gears in tandem, to try and ram you to death from different angles. At this point it almost seems impossible to hit him or do any damage, but if you keep timing your shots right, you'll eventually destroy the power gear in the front that's shielding him, and it allows you to do some damage while he tries to ram you from the side or from the top to below. Overall, I was very satisfied with the way this game came out. I recommend you pick this up, whether you've played Mega Man or never played it. If you're looking for a harder challenge, there's Mega Boss Rush mode that amps up the difficulty of Wily Stage number 3 with the boss refights, along with other difficult challenges. Try the game chargeless and gearless on normal if you want, like I did. And if you're casual, this game is probably the best place to start to get into, as the gear system and difficulty levels that are on the easier side will help ease you in overall. But it's definitely one of my top 5 Mega Man series games, alongside which are Battle Network 2, Zero, ZX Advent, and Legends. I hope you guys give it a try. And yeah, I know you guys are expecting Mega Man 2 or Mega Man X2 in my top 5. I'm sorry. I played all of them, and those are the ones I like the most. Don't get mad at me. Bye.